We just sat here and
no MMA.
Yeah, we're just letting you guys.
I understand we're about to get 4 views on this video, but there will be no MMA talk on this video. Kevin and I are going to try to keep the Thursday video y'all see on anything and everything but MMA unless something crazy happens. Yeah. And in our weekend show that you guys see on Monday, sometime Sunday.
Loads of MMA, sometimes divided into 2 shows.
A hot load? Like a fresh
hot fucking horseshit load of MMA.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Now, in my opinion, the biggest event so far in this sports year is this Saturday.
And that would be in college football. And we're going to see.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
When does your sports year start?
When does my sports year start? September.
See, mine starts February 5th. The day after the Super Bowl, that's when my new sports year starts. Because the Super Bowl rolls over, and I hate that. Mm-hmm. It just drives me insane.
Yeah, it actually does. I mean, it's fucked up because you look at, okay, quick, who was in the Super Bowl last year?
Green Bay.
And who else?
Steelers.
Right.
And they got their ass whooped.
but the thing is that it does.
Who played in the World Series last year? Not this past World Series, last year's World Series. I'll wait.
You know why? The Giants and the Rangers. Because I did a rap to that shit, son. Remember?
Anyway, what I'm getting at is normally my sports year starts when the Super Bowl ends. Now, I understand that basketball rolls over and football rolls over and baseball plays, in the same calendar year.
Right.
But for me, I don't fuck basketball. But for me, it's when the Super Bowl ends.
Saying fuck basketball this year.
Well, speaking of that, since we're still on it,
and we'll talk about it real quick.
Right. Kevin Durant said he wanted to play flag football. So the folks down at Oklahoma, was it Oklahoma 2 times? Dang. Yeah, fans at Oklahoma State University invited Durant to come down to play flag football. Not only did Durant show up, he tweeted later he scored 4 touchdown passes and made 3 picks.
Yeah, did he have a pick 6 or just straight?
I don't
picks?
know. So what do you think happened when he tweeted that?
LeBron was like, "What's up, shorty?
Yeah,
I got some skills too, especially in Ohio."
Yeah, so LeBron's trying to arrange a Kevin Durant's team versus LeBron James' team in flag football.
I would like to see that shit.
Oh, dude, I hope that shit's televised.
They should do that shit for charity.
Might as well.
They could get a lot of people showing up for something like that.
And can you imagine the sponsors?
Including Kevin and George.
Yeah, fly me out there.
Yeah,
I'll
man,
go.
we'll be up there talking trash.
That's the big news. But sticking with the NBA, and we're going to kind of roll this. For all you people who followed the NBA and followed Shaquille O'Neal, when he came into the league, I think you'd have to admit they had to kind of change the rules. Because when Shaq went like this, it would literally knock a guy into the third row.
It's so fucking big. It's over 300 pounds, right?
So does that make you think they're going to have to institute the same kind of idea with dealing with Ndamukong Suh?
I mean, he's obviously sat down with Roger Goodell.
He's doing that, yeah.
And I mean, I'm saying that only because it's going to happen by the time this video is out. But it's, I don't know. Ndamukong Suh, because who I followed since he was in college, because I'm a big Nebraska fan, is such a vicious player on the football field. I mean, he's vicious, which you gotta love. I wish we had got him, and I knew that in college.
What team you play on?
I don't play on any team, actually. But if I had a team and I was the owner of the Redskins, hi, Daniel Snyder, I would want to get him. Then I could say we, because it would be my shit. But he is such a gentle giant when you talk to him. He's so soft-spoken. I was listening on ESPN earlier this morning. They said you would expect him to be like in the molecular biology or something when you talk to the guy. That's what he comes across as. You never think that this is this fierce guy on the football field. With that being said, no, I don't think they're going to change the rules.
I'm not saying necessarily change the rules, but maybe look at him differently.
Well,
they didn't change the rules for Shaq either. They just called some things not fouls when in reality they'd be fouls for other people because of how big he is.
It comes a time when your head coach has to sit down with you and you become like how James Harrison was, last year, or is, well, not now because he's out for the season. But I mean, but all of a sudden, you get a label and the refs are looking at you. So somewhere along the line, your coach has to sit you down and say, hey, look, you're going to start hurting the team. And it's going to be very difficult for you to play to your full ability when everybody's fucking just riding your back about shit. So I think that's going to be Schwartz's, job to sit Sue down and say, hey, you know what, man? I'm not asking you to change your way of playing, but you've got to probably you gotta chill out on the temper and say Matt Ryan, whatever the fuck. Who knows what was said, but
speaking of that, for all you people out there, and Kevin and I were, we both want to see Tim Tebow do well because he's such a nice guy. But let's face it, he is not an NFL quarterback. And that leads me to...
There's a conspiracy theory with that.
Yeah, enlighten me.
Okay.
This
a lot of people are starting to think that because Denver fans, and everybody loves Tebow, but Denver fans were crying and crying and crying about put Tim Tebow in, and basically rolling Kyle Orton under the bus. Mm-hmm. A lot of people feel that John Elway and John Fox have said, fuck it, let's just throw him in. Let's just fucking throw him in and give everybody what they want, you know what I'm saying? And show that, you know what, we were right the whole time. This is really, you know, it doesn't matter if he's a good guy. This is his kid's ability to play football. And it sucks because he's a good guy, and in a sense, he's being put on the spotlight, and it's been the news for the last 2 weeks. But it's showing that
Bama has been sacked 15 times in 2 games. Mm-hmm. You don't know how to throw the ball away?
Yeah. He was fast in college. He was athletic in college, but the NFL is a completely different fucking monster. You know?
A monster?
Monster.
Okay, now
he did the monster.
How'd you feel when the dude came in and sacked Tebow and then went?
He was Tebowing, shorty. Tebowing's like planking, owling, coning. Speaking of planker, I'll have a special planker video coming out in quite a few days dedicated to George Bedford.
You know what I find funny? That you'd be in the planking.
Man, I can plank. No one can outplank me. You'll see. You will see.
Wow. Just because I'm saying because of the historical reference to planking. That's what I'm shocked at. Now, I mean, me for one, it doesn't bother me per se. Yeah. But it's funny that no, it's not funny. But the historical planking.
Yes.
It's interesting that black people would do it at all.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
And you actually don't see a lot of brothers planking.
No.
Or owling or coning.
But I did see somebody from the LSU team planking in a competition on YouTube.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Was he brother?
The motherfucking honey badger.
The honey badger.
Dude is a beast.
Rolling into what everybody has probably tuned in this video to watch, and what is probably one of the biggest sporting events in quite some time.
I will watch this in TiVo, the UFC 138.
Yeah.
I have no interest in UFC 138. This game is at 8 o'clock on Saturday. Mm-hmm. This will be LSU's 4th ranked road opponent.
Yeah.
Name another team that's done that.
Not Alabama.
I'll wait.
Not Alabama.
No.
I mean, it's, and that's LSU. Well, let's start out about when they meet this Saturday night.
Well, in fairness to LSU, they have played better out of conference competition. They've played Oregon. Mm-hmm. They've played West Virginia. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've gone on the road. They beat West Virginia and West Virginia. They beat Oregon, I think, on a neutral site.
Yeah. There's no arguing what you're saying. To the point of this game when LSU will meet Alabama, LSU has had the tougher road to get to this point.
And by the way, they're ranked number 1 in the country.
And Alabama's ranked number 2. But I think all that shit goes out the window because this game, a lot of people are calling like the national championship.
Dude, they were talking about, they went to one of the kids on LSU and said, did you know that seats for this game are going for $10,000 a ticket? Now, you tell me, because as a player on the team, I think you get 2 to 4 tickets per game.
What you talking about, Willis? Are you serious?
Yeah, players get tickets that they can give to parents, but they get in trouble for selling them.
Right.
How can you tell a player that you will not sell these tickets when they are going for $10,000 a pop? That's $40,000
for 4 seats. I know my arithmetic.
Dude, you're talking about Super Bowl prices right there.
Yeah. This shit is a huge fucking game because realistically, I mean, if you look at it, it would not be as big of a game as if they were on different sides. You know what I'm saying? But they're on the same side. And
the winner of this is going to go to the SEC title game.
And they're going to probably beat South Carolina, whoever ends up being in that title.
Can you imagine? Put it this way. All right, let's just we'll get back to the analysis of the matchups of the game. But first, and for all you people who don't like us jumping around, get over it.
Okay, yeah.
If LSU wins this game, okay, and then they go on, and Alabama has 1 loss, and LSU goes on to the SEC title game and loses. So now you have LSU and Alabama both with 1 loss. Mm-hmm. Do you let them play each other for the national title?
No, because let me tell you something. What will happen? They're not going to play for the national title. One of your worst nightmares could possibly happen.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen, Captain.
Oh, I would love it. I would absolutely. I would relish at the chance to watch LSU play Boise State.
This is the thing. Oh. This is the thing, though. This is the thing that's fucked up about Boise State, and I'm going to tell you this, and then we're going to move on, guys. The problem is Boise State would then have to prepare for 1 game. See,
and they'd have over a month to do it.
So they could go in there, and people and all those fans would go, "Oh man, they beat them. The thing is that they got there because of default. I mean, not default, because you went out and you won, or you ran the table and everything, but you did not have to get beat up. You didn't get the injuries. You didn't have to play ranked opponents all throughout the season. You know what I'm saying? And cop 2 or 3 losses and get pushed to the sidelines. That's why they need a playoff system, because that really would determine who's the best college football team out there.
And the other thing interesting about Boise State is they got a big choice to make. Do they go to the Big East, or do they wait to see if the Super Conference gets built?
Man, fuck a super conference, man. That sounds like some superhero type shit, man.
I figure you'd be all about it. You haven't had a superhero reference in a couple weeks.
I want to come up with a name for his. That is fucking it. That's the question of the week, Shorty. Let's see who can come up with the best name for the super conference functions.
Jesus. Now, let us do you a favor and
best name for super conference.
Break down how we see the LSU-Alabama game going.
Okay. Now, we had a gunslinger that came to Bama. You know what that gunslinger's name is?
No.
Come on.
I don't know.
McCarron. Now, he's their quarterback who has been on a roll. He's thrown for 1,664 yards this season,
is he
10
butter?
TDs, and he's only thrown for 3 interceptions. He was actually sharing snaps with Phil Simms Jr., okay. And then basically after the second week, he's like, I'm the head honcho in this town.
Well, that's funny because the quarterback over for LSU's side has thrown for, his name would be Jarrett Lee. He's thrown for 1,250 yards and 13 touchdowns and only 1 pick all season. That would be a passer rating of 157.4.
Now, as you can kind of notice, George and I are taking, I'm taking over Bama shit. He's going to be doing LSU shit, okay? We got this brother.
Just one?
Let me tell you about. Oh, we got a lot of brothers, right? But we got this one brother who's #1 in the Heisman race, ahead of Andrew Luck.
You know what the most interesting thing about him?
Name?
Yeah, he's got a white man's name.
Trent Richardson. But he's a brother. Right.
So what's his stats look like?
Let's see what his stats are. I don't have Trent Richardson's stats in front of me.
Oh, well.
I actually don't.
Let me help you out on that one.
Okay.
Where'd it go? What?
But I will say this: while he's looking for the stats, I think a lot of McCarron's success has been because of Trent Richardson's rushing game.
Trent Richardson has run for 989 yards and 17 touchdowns.
Right.
Whew. And then he also has Eddie Lacy and Jalston Fowler have combined for 794 yards and 8 touchdowns. Those are the running backs for Alabama.
Right.
Now, with that said, LSU approaches their running game more with a 3-headed monster. Spencer Ware, Michael Ford, and Alfred Blue, who have rushed for 1,175 yards and 16 touchdowns. To me, even though you have Trent Richardson on one side of the ball, if Trent Richardson goes down, that puts a hell of a...
Well, if Trent Richardson goes down, it causes a lot of problems, because I think Trent Richardson has been one of the reasons that you've seen the success with McCarron. I mean, McCarron has... I mean, you've got a running back that's a stud like that.
And what I tell you, if I'm the offensive coordinator for either one of these teams, I told Kevin what I'd do first play.
Go deep.
Play action, go deep.
And why George is saying that is because if you look at these two, I think, what is it? One is ranked. Who is #1 in the ranked in the nation? I guess... What is it? Let me look over here.
They're basically...
Bama has only given up 14 plays
over 20 yards.
The whole entire season.
And LSU's given up 19, which ranks them 3rd in the country. So here's what I'm thinking. If I'm Alabama, I come up and I line up in an I formation and I look over, and if I have single coverage with the safety playing over the top and not roll to the sideline, dude, I'm play action and going because it's single coverage, one-on-one. The only problem with that is Alabama doesn't have the go-to wide receiver like LSU does, because...
And there's another problem with that. LSU has the Honey Badger.
Well, that's on defense. I'm talking about LSU's offense.
Oh, I thought you were saying,
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. If I'm Alabama, I'm play action into Trent Richardson and going up top.
Right.
But you're right.
That now, and when I say this, and what George and I are getting at right here is LSU's defense is all speed.
Yes.
Whereas Bama's is complete opposite.
Alabama has 2 linebackers who weigh 260 apiece. They are some big brothers.
Right. So, now, you look at LSU's defense, like George says, you go play action fake. This guy, the Honey Badger, Tyrann, he is unbelievable. Nobody gets around the corner on this kid. This kid closes the gap so fast. There's a reason he's the Honey Badger. Honey Badger don't give a shit.
No, he's phenomenal. He actually won SEC Defensive Player of the Week
Honey Badger
1,
don't give a shit.
and they played against Oregon week 1. Y'all need to go ahead and look that one up on YouTube as soon as you're done with this.
Because we know how much speed Oregon is built around speed. And he was just closing the gap on everybody.
And the other thing that's funny is the Honey Badger has a video where it's him and the goalie.
Honey Badger don't give a shit.
The female goalie for LSU are doing like this sports thing, and they have to drop kick soccer balls, and Mateau only has to stop one or just catch one, and he can't. That's about an 8 to 10 yard drop kick. She just drops a soccer ball and kicks it at him. He couldn't stop one. But that Bama, for any of y'all who've seen the quick ladder, it's a ladder. You start on the left, you go to the right, and you go like this. You chop back and forth. That Bama did it backwards while she did it forwards. Not only did he beat her to the end, you had to turn at the end and run a 30-yard sprint, blew her doors off.
Honey Badger don't give a shit.
So, for me, since the Honey Badger don't give a shit, I'm leaning towards LSU. I think LSU's probably going to win this 17-14, 21-14.
Okay, let me tell you something. Over-unders, let's say, I don't know what the over-under in this
40?
game is. I'd say probably 39, between 39 and 41.
Under.
You going under?
I'm going under.
I'm going under too, man.
I have a feeling these two teams are going to line up and punch each other in the mouth all game long.
Now you had a good point of one thing that George did say with LSU's defense is speed. Sometimes the way you can beat speed is just power.
It's
power
run
up the middle,
straight at it,
and you can control the clock.
Right.
You know.
I mean, that's how. Look at Julius Peppers. When Julius Peppers was a beast. Early on in his career in the NFL, the way you beat him is you ran right at him. And Ndamukong Suh, you don't run away from these. Warren Sapp, you run at these guys. These guys who are predicated on speed, you get a guy in his face and you cut off his back. So to me, I'm lining up maybe double tight I formation, and I'm going to run right at LSU all game long.
Yeah.
And because Alabama's offense right now is averaging 457 yards a game. I mean, that's insane. I think it was like something 6 point, almost 6 yards a play.
Alabama had another. Alabama has only given up. If you can wear a team down, if Bama has the ability to wear LSU down, it could really go to their side because
14 second half points.
14 second half points. They've only given up one fourth quarter touch. Bama has only given up one fourth quarter touchdown this entire season.
Now, I understand they played Penn State in Penn State, but let's face it, this ain't the old Penn State teams. They should have beat Penn State worse. And in my opinion, LSU would have crushed Penn State.
Right.
They played Arkansas. I'm not knocking who Alabama's played because you can only play who's on your schedule.
Yeah, you can only play who's on your schedule. And they will have to play. I mean, obviously they're playing the best team in the nation.
Well, the nice thing is they get to play at home. Mm-hmm. It's just
the way it rolls out sometimes.
So for you folks who don't watch American football or are not interested in football, just watch this one game. Give it a try. Find it on the interweb. Find it for all you folks across the pond. If you've stuck in it this long and you've watched looking for that MMA part, here. I'm
going to tell you a scenario. If this is how it could play out. If Bama is to win, okay, Bama will be winning, be in first place on their side of the SEC, okay? They will move to the number 1 slot. LSU, by default, which was in number 1, will slide. They won't slide a lot. Okay?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, if LSU loses this game, they go from 1 in the nation to number 2 in the nation. These two should flip-flop.
But they probably won't.
They'll probably drop the 5.
They'll probably drop the 5. But there is a strong chance that at the end of the year, if they both ran the table, okay?
Well, they can't. They have to play each other.
Well, no. I'm just saying. If LSU had a loss, okay? And Bama ran the table, and then LSU from that point on ran the table, and at the end of the year, you're looking at Alabama being undefeated, okay? And all these other teams who've already had losses, and there'll be some more losses before the end of the year. And LSU runs the table after that hard schedule, and their only loss is to the number 1 undefeated team in the country in Alabama. You could see them back in the national championship again.
And this is why I disagree with you, because I don't think Andrew Luck is going to lose a game, and I don't think Boise State's going to lose a game. You're going to have – I think you're going to have 2 undefeated – you're going to have – the winner of this game is going to be number 1.
It could be Stanford, yeah.
The winner of this game, whether it be LSU or Alabama, will be number 1 and more likely should win out.
Right.
Okay? Then you're going to have Stanford and Boise, who by at the end of the season will probably be 2 and 3.
Right.
Because this team, whoever loses this, will probably drop the 5.
Right.
Or maybe even 4.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So then you have a problem. And that's that to me.
The problem to me is what you're saying. The problem is Stanford, because everybody else has got an L. You know what I mean? And Boise State, I don't think Boise State. I think LSU or Alabama with 1 loss, they're not going to give it to Boise State. Now, speaking of Boise State, the Big East, who is just basically imploded, exploded. I don't know what the fuck kind of exploded you want to call it, but it's just a fucking mess. It is a fucking hot mess in Big East land. Everybody's fucking saying, we're leaving. It's the fucking Titanic conference. Abandoned ship!
Because West Virginia's suing the Big East in the sense that once LSU, I'm not, wow, look where my mind's at. Once Syracuse and Pitt said deuces, West Virginia sued, and they're going to the Big 12, which is nuts because they're going to get hammered in the Big 12. It's just the Big 12, in my opinion, is kind of like the Big 10, and it's just kind of line up. We're going to punch you in the mouth. We're going to do the I formation. We're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
And West Virginia's not that.
Yeah.
West Virginia is speed.
They're going to have to. It's going to be. I think they're going to struggle in the Big 12 for a while.
Can you imagine what Morgantown will be like if Oklahoma comes to town?
It'll be crazy,
dude. That'll be nuts, and that's exactly what WVU's looking at. WVU is a lot like Notre Dame. When WVU plays, they travel.
Oh, they travel.
And they don't mess around.
When they played Maryland, I was at freaking the Krispy Kreme Donuts, fucking down on I-270, and I'm like this. All I saw was yellow and blue. I'm like, these motherfuckers came all the way from Morgantown.
Yeah, they do not play.
Well, what the Big East has done, getting back on subject, to try to restructure or recreate or resalvage their Titanic conference, they've sent invites to Boise State, Navy, and Air Force for football only. Those three teams, schools got invites for football. Now, they sent out 3 more invites for all sports, and that would be SMU, Houston, and Central Florida. Now, with all this being said, let's say all 6 of these teams jump on the Big East bandwagon.
Then
do you think
there goes your super conference? Because part of the super conference I thought was for the Big East. Was it in the Big East?
They would join
Mountain West and one other
Conference USA.
Yeah. Well, then the Conference USA and Mountain West have to join up.
I think that this Big East conference would have most of the football talent that would be in that super conference. I mean, you would have to say Boise State could. Central Florida's pretty decent. SMU's rebuilding their program.
And again, what this falls back on, Boise State needs to take a step back and go, do we want to go to the Big East, where we know if we win, we're going to get an automatic BCS berth?
Right.
Or do we wait to see what's going to happen with this super conference?
Super conference.
Because if it's a super conference with 22 teams, essentially, dude, that's going to be more money.
Yeah,
because your conference championship at the end of the season, you could. I mean, what if? Here's a question: what can
the Honey Badger thinks about this?
Honey Badger don't give a shit.
That's what I said, man.
Because he plays in a real conference.
He does.
Now,
sorry.
So I don't know. How do you see it playing out?
I would if I were Boise State, I would go, and I'm going to tell you why.
To the Big East?
I would go to the Big East.
It's got more name rec.
Yep, it's got more name rec. You automatically have an automatic bid. People can't give you shit about it because it's not,
shit. George will.
Yeah, George will, but everybody else will. You will play a lot better teams. You'll play some ranked teams during the course of the year, and you just do not know. It's guaranteed right now. Everybody's going to be there. Everything else is falling out and disassembling, and you could sit back and wait and end up getting in some shit conference that doesn't have anything, and you're not guaranteed an automatic bid, and you know what? Then you are fucking DiCaprio on the fucking Titanic.
Okay, now here's my question.
What?
The Super Conference, it gets you an automatic bid. Now we're on even footing. The Super Conference has 22 teams, even footing with the Big East. The Big East has an automatic bid.
Mm-hmm. I still go to Big East because I know I could probably run the table in the Big East quicker. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what those guys will do.
Now,
powers that be.
A quick look at the rankings, and one team that Kevin and I both will agree that we've overlooked is Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is currently sitting at 3rd in the country, and they are 8-0.
Oh yeah, we forgot about Oklahoma State, and they played all the tough teams.
They haven't played Oklahoma. Oklahoma only has one loss, and it wasn't to Oklahoma State.
No, it's to Texas Tech, and they got worked. Or it's to Texas A&M. Texas Tech, wasn't it?
Well, Saturday, December 3rd. Oklahoma State has to play Oklahoma. Oklahoma has to go to Oklahoma State. That right there, Boise State is going to be cheering for Oklahoma harder than they ever can.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead and ask me whatever you want.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
This is funny. Does the Big 12 have a championship
Yes,
game?
they do.
They still do?
Yes, they should.
Who's on the other side?
I'm not sure.
Because, see, that's the thing. That's the ticket right there. Because, you know what? You're right. I mean, Alabama or LSU scored a loss. Whichever team loses is basically shit-ass out of luck.
Could be, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, if Oklahoma State runs the table, and I'm looking at this shit right here, it doesn't look like they don't have a championship game.
They should. They always have.
No, look, it's all one thing now. It's all blended in.
They'll take the top two. They'll take the top two.
Well,
you're telling me Nebraska left and it killed their championship game?
Well, it's uneven number now. It's all fucked up. I mean, they could do it.
So you take 1 versus 2. You take 1 versus 2.
See, I know Oklahoma State, they were all on the same side. So I don't know how this is working. Maybe somebody out there can tell us how they're working things out with the Big 12. Is there a Big 12 championship?
December 3rd is going to be a very big day for Boise State because Boise State is going to, like I said, be cheering for Oklahoma like nobody's business. Because let's see who Boise State has left. UNLV, TCU, San Diego State, and they close out the season with, I hope you're sitting down because this really could be close, Wyoming.
What's Wyoming?
It's a state.
It is?
Yeah.
They have a college?
Yeah, a state college
I
named
thought they just had Cowboys.
Wyoming.
Really?
Yeah, because let me tell you, even with LSU, when LSU plays Alabama this weekend, it's not a lock. Because I mean, okay, after that they have a tune-up game. It's called Western Kentucky, but then they have to play at Mississippi and home versus Arkansas. Those are two
I'd be
SEC
worried about
games.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll be the college football season
because they got fucking.
It's nuts. This Saturday, in my opinion, is equivalent to the national title. And then Alabama's last game of the season is versus Auburn.
Who does Oklahoma State have? Let's see.
Oklahoma State has to play.
They have to play
Kansas State.
Now, that's another stud team.
At Texas Tech, at Iowa State, and then at home versus Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State has – let me tell you something. See, this is the thing, and then we'll close out the show. Oklahoma State is the perfect example of what Boise State does not have to deal with. They're 8-0, but they've got to go play – Kansas State, who's currently ranked 14th, and looks awesome this year. Then they have to play Texas Tech, who just beat Oklahoma, a powerhouse. Then that's at Texas Tech. Then they have to go to Iowa State, and then they at home against 5th-ranked Oklahoma.
And see, this is the thing when you have
that's if they don't have a Big 12 championship.
So when you schedule these out of conference games and you don't play anyone, and then when you have to play literally no one in your conference. Okay, cool. You scheduled one out of conference game, you got up for it, and you won. Congratulations. But then, just like Kevin said, look what Oklahoma State has to deal with down the road. I mean, that's ridiculous. And those are you can't duck those. You can't dodge them. You can't get out of playing Oklahoma.
You have to be prepared for each one of them.
You best.
If you overlook one, you know what? The one they could overlook is Iowa State because they don't look that good this year. You know what? That's the team that'll fucking upset them.
Yeah. I mean, those are teams that come out and it's adrenaline and emotion, and all it takes is a good return.
Yeah.
Their returner brings it out to the 50-yard line. They're going nuts.
That's
they're at
how
home.
Oklahoma lost. I mean, they just got outplayed so bad in the first half that they couldn't make up ground in the second half.
You ready to cut to the MMA part?
Yeah. MMA. Oh, that's right. We're not doing any MMA.
Not even women's?
No.